ultimately, ICOs, where they're at today versus where they were in like 2017, it's a totally different world. So, the amount of energy, effort, and budget that you have to put into an ICO now versus what you had to do, a year or 2 years ago has radically changed.
What do you think are some of the big considerations that, these individuals should have when planning and preparing, to launch their project on the blockchain and host an ICO?
Not all ICOs are the same. In my mind, there's two types of ICOs. There's the ICOs that never see the light of day, that never go to conferences, that get funded all through pre-sales. Then there's the ICOs that have to do the hard work of building brand. There's a timeline, preparing, getting your Telegram channel to a certain level, getting your presence, figuring out where you want to get your funding, going out to Asia, doing a roadshow, all those things.
How can we use existing social network? How can we use automation tools? How can you use marketing automation? How can you use drip campaigns? How can you build a list of people that you can get to participate in your Telegram channel, get them to participate with you online, get people to show up? So you've got to figure that out kind of first. And then you need to have all the marketing materials, your website, your pitch deck, your white paper figured out, ready to go. Everything has to be perfect, and it has to be competitive design-wise with the existing market. So if you've got something that looks like it was made in MS Paint, you're probably not going to convince anybody to invest in your ICO. It's better to have a plan and a strategy up front, have all your marketing materials together, and have a pitch that you can pitch a VC traditionally. Just because you're doing an ICO doesn't mean that you get to skip the homework of doing a pitch deck and having a white paper and those kinds of things. You still have to do all of that due diligence yourself so that you can make the argument to whoever wants to invest. And then you almost have to, in a way, especially if you're mass marketing your ICO, you have to dumb it down. You need to bring it to a level that most people can understand. So you don't want to be able, if you're pitching your company, like if you're trying to explain your company in more than 2 sentences, you're doing it wrong. You need something simple, you need something elegant, you need people to be able to just connect with it.
Capital and influence is controlled by a tiny number of people in the crypto world. This is not the capital markets where you can talk to a large number of institutional investors. There's an influencer community that's small. There's a crypto community that is very small. And when you talk to one VC, you're actually talking to 10 because they're all talking to each other. There's a syndicate. I think really does help is if you can find a very useful advisor that handholds you through the process and tells you, don't do that. Don't go to that conference. That's a waste of time. Go do this. Because what they'll help you is they will help you not burn so much money and time. The dirty little secret in the industry is that I've never met one of those large Telegram groups that they didn't buy those users. But what I think is important to do is that don't buy it all at once. Buy it in small little increments, test, and then see if that engagement actually works.
So the key is, again, creating value for the people that you're trying to engage with. So if you're giving them information that's going to benefit them, that's going to help them, if you're giving them insight, if you're giving them something of value. So that's the key driver here. And then you have to also kind of propagandize it a little bit and make sure that you're writing for the masses. There's tactics that you need to use to be able to engage a larger audience. If you're just promoting your product and it just reads like a press release, they're not going to publish that. But if you're actually putting something out there of value and at the end you got a little link at the bottom, that's not pay to play. That's, you're actually creating value. You're talking about the industry. So if you can show expertise in the industry, if you can show that you know what you're talking about and talk about something and write it in a way that the masses will engage with it, then, you can use Medium. You can use, all the publications that are on Medium. You could also try it with your own blog. You could try, your own YouTube channels, all that kind of thing. And just simply, I think the key thing here for a lot of these ICOs is just showing that there's a real human being behind it. And there's a personality behind it, and going to branding, that's ultimately what brands are. It's personality. So if you can show that there's some personality behind your project and engage with people and find ways to engage with them,
I think your best resources are the people that are like 1 to 5 months ahead of you, who have made those mistakes, right? Because generally there's a lot of projects, and they'll tell you because you're in a local community, right? So they will tell you, oh, these are the things that you should focus on. These are the things. This is the thing that helped me.
Every major city, I'm not sure what city you guys are from, but they have like a startup incubator, and a lot of these startup incubators are trying to bring in blockchain businesses because they know that's the migration of the future. So you can go there and speak to some of their advisors to just get connected or get resources, and if you're good enough, they might advise you to apply to bring you in and fund you and start you and help you launch. And also with regards to digital communities, I created one. It's called the #1 Bitcoin group in the world. That's because it's the #1 Bitcoin group in the world. And we have about 25,000 members. It's completely free. It's like a crowdsourced, resource for everybody all over the world for technical analysis, ICO, and any resource to help you get started.